So I spoke to somebody the other day who wanted to become a member, and they mentioned something that they thought was quite unique, but I've actually heard it quite a lot. And this is the idea that you are an imposter in your relationship. Like, you don't deserve to be within that relationship. So in today's video, I want to break down relationship imposter syndrome, why it's so common, and what you can do about it. So when we think of imposter syndrome, it's usually kind of discussed in the context of careers. So people can get to a place in their career and they can get this sort of back of the mind feeling that they've tricked their boss into hiring them, or they don't deserve to be in that position, despite the fact that they have the qualifications and everything that is needed to be in that position. But it's this kind of back of the mind feeling of, at some point I'm going to get found out. And this is extremely common. But in a marriage or a relationship, it can manifest in a much deeper, darker kind of way, as a quiet, sort of persistent fear that you have tricked your spouse into loving you, and that at any point they are going to leave you, that they're going to find out that you're a fraud. They're suddenly going to discover that those feelings that they have were not real and just a momentary lapse of judgment. So relationship imposter syndrome is this kind of internal belief that you are a fraud in your own home, in your own relationship, and that if your partner truly saw the real you, then they would leave. So why does this happen? Why do some people feel like they're an imposter in their relationship? Well, sometimes people mistakenly think that it kind of starts with their spouse, their partner, and they think that this feeling is coming from their partner's inner thoughts that they're not sharing. But usually it actually starts with your own internal blueprint for worthiness, for want of a better word. So when we develop our relationship skills, our beliefs in life, our emotional tools that we have, we often learn them from our parents or from our caregivers or from teachers, adults that we kind of grew up with. We kind of learn those tools. So sometimes we can learn the tool that we have to earn affection, we have to perform in order to get something back from someone. So sometimes we can have this inbuilt idea that we have to present this very specific act towards our partner in order to earn love back. And this is something that can be at the root of this relationship imposter syndrome, because we feel like we haven't earned it enough. So we start to try to figure out what we can do to keep someone there. So this can lead to showering them with gifts, showering them with praise, constant compliments, plowing them with a lot of surface level kind of performative stuff because we feel like we need to buy their affection. But there's another sort of contributing factor to this, which is kind of the pedestal effect. So oftentimes, if we believe that we haven't earned love, or we don't deserve love, or we don't deserve a good relationship, we can develop this kind of idealized view of our partner, and we can put them on this pedestal, and you can become hypercritical of yourself. And we can create this gap between this idealized pedestal version of our partner and the flawed version of ourselves. So I'm not perfect, they are perfect, I'm not worthy. And then we can create a gap that becomes very, very wide. And then we can feel like an interloper in their life, someone who doesn't deserve to be there. But there's a third factor, which is sometimes we can struggle with this perfectionism. So if you are a high achiever, some people grow up with parents that push them to drive them to be great and to do well, get high marks in school and, perform very extremely well in their job and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But oftentimes this can lead to you applying the same standards to your relationship, which means that oftentimes if you are not a perfect spouse, if you are not a perfect husband, a perfect wife, then your brain can interpret this as evidence that you are a failure. It's this very dichotomous thinking of, if you're not winning, you're losing. So if you are not perfect, then you're a screw up. And then ultimately this leads you to thinking that a happy marriage is ultimately just down to luck. It's down to timing, or it's down to your partner just being blind to your flaws for the moment, rather than the qualities that you actually do bring. And this is one of the toughest things when it comes to a relationship that I see quite a lot, people getting into this habit of just living in hope of a good relationship, of just crossing their fingers and saying, well, hopefully they don't see that I'm dumb. Hopefully they don't see that I make mistakes or they get defensive. But then all of this has a knock-on effect, which causes a lot of behaviors that can actually push your partner further away, creating the one outcome that you're most worried about. So I want to talk about how this kind of shows up. So when you feel like an imposter in your relationship, in your marriage, you kind of stop acting like a partner and you start acting like a performer. So you can end up over-functioning. So you try to earn your place by doing everything. So sometimes this can be jumping in and doing all of the cleaning or all of the household work, always managing the kids, trying to bring in all the money for the household. So you take on everything because you feel that your presence in the relationship isn't enough. And this starts to create a power imbalance where you kind of become the servant and your partner becomes the person who is on the pedestal, dictating whether you get to stay in the relationship or not. You're cultivating this image that you're not equal within the relationship. And this can then lead to a fear of vulnerability. So you start to hide your emotions. So you never talk about how you feel. You never talk about your worries. You keep them all bottled up inside. So when you feel angry, you never say it. If you feel sad, you never say it. You feel insecure, you never say it because you're afraid that your partner will see this as the smoking gun that proves that you aren't the person that they think you are. And this means that all of these emotions just get kept inside and kind of repressed. And then that has the knock-on effect of needing reassurance. So oftentimes when we get this relationship imposter syndrome, you can start to constantly ask, do you love me? Are you still in love with me? Are your feelings changing? Like, are we okay? Are we good? Are you mad at me? And then paradoxically, when they do give you a compliment, you dismiss it or laugh it off, or you assume that they're just trying to make you feel better. And then all of this left unchecked turns into this subconscious sabotage. So if you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, the stress of that becomes so high that sometimes you can pick fights, you can start fights, you can call your partner a liar, you can start to look at them interacting with other people and think, well, they like that person more than me. So then you start to become insecure and you start to create more issues within the relationship and start to create this distance between you and your partner, oftentimes just to gain a sort of sense of control over this inevitable rejection that you can fear. So that leaves the question, how do we deconstruct this imposter syndrome, this narrative that we are a fraud and we don't deserve a good relationship? Well, the most important thing, and this is something that I talk about with all of my members when it comes to, especially comes to repairing a relationship, is moving away from this performance, moving away from trying to look good, trying to look confident, shifting away from this performance mode into presence mode. So this can be done in a lot of different ways. You can start to collect evidence. So look at the actual facts. Your spouse is an adult with autonomy. They have complete freedom. They can choose to be with you or not be with you. If they didn't want to be with you, they can make that choice. But if they're with you, then that is the choice that they're making right now. So by doubting and by worrying about whether they are lying or they are faking it, you're kind of doubting their own judgment. You're essentially saying, I don't trust that you're smart enough to be able to make an informed choice. So it's important to trust your partner. Trust that they are capable of seeing you clearly and choosing you anyway. Once you default to the mode of trust, trusting that people around you are going to make the right decisions with the right information that they have, it becomes a lot easier to stop trying to persuade them and control the narrative. And it allows you to relax and allows them to be able to start making that choice for themselves without any pressure. But not only looking at the evidence, also starting to create evidence for yourself. If you're worried about being in a relationship, oftentimes we feel an imposter in things because sometimes we don't know how we got there. We don't actually look at what our strong points are, and we don't look at what our weak points are. We don't actually take an objective look and say, what value do I provide? What value does my partner like? What value could I improve on? The more we take an objective look on our skills, our relationship skills, our communication skills, our emotional regulation skills, the more we take an objective look at it, the more we can start to say, well, I think I'm quite strong in this area, but here's an area of improvement that I can work on. This way, you can start to build the evidence for yourself that, yeah, you're not perfect. No one is, but you don't have to be perfect because you're improving. And it's the same, when people are in jobs that they get imposter syndrome in. Once they switch their focus onto areas of improvement, that imposter syndrome starts to disappear because at the back of their mind, they're already like, well, even if I did kind of bluff my way into this job, it doesn't matter because I'm learning and improving anyway. So I'm already headed in a direction where I earn this position. That way, the imposter syndrome kind of starts to fade away because we already have evidence of our direction. Not of our final destination, but of our direction. And this is what I found with my most successful members is that they are able to start tracking their progress. And that helps to keep them on track on the direction that they're wanting to head in. And it gives them a lot more confidence to continue to move forward and build that relationship in a much deeper way. And if you do want to join us and you want to start your journey, then feel free to join my relationship bootcamp, where we give you all the fundamentals of how to start building and repairing and growing healthy relationships. This is where all my members start. So if you want to join us, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to grab your spot. So start building those skills. Start building those skills that you can start to track and see your progress. And this means that you can start implementing them, not just with your partner, but in your life with other people as well, with your parents, with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues. Relationship imposter syndrome thrives in silence. The moment you start to address it, the moment you sort of name it and realize it, the more that it loses its power, because you can start to shift away from this narrative that your brain is telling you and into something that is actionable and has an impact on the future. I've done a deeper dive on this, which I'll link to on the screen, but learning what are effective relationship skills that have an impact on a relationship, on intimacy, on closeness, on attraction, knowing where to focus will stop you from kind of clutching at straws and living in hope and starting to get focused on what is important and what is actually going to move your relationship forward, especially for rebuilding a relationship. So I'll leave you with that deeper dive video and I will see you over there.